many times have you heard the phrase, never judge a book by its cover? It's a basic principle that I think we should all abide to, and yet I'll admit that I fail at it quite often. If you follow me on social media, I'm sure you've seen me repeatedly post stories about my workouts, and more often than not, yes, they're on this Peloton. You'd assume that I'm endorsed by them or something, but the fact of the matter is, I'm not. Full disclaimer, I've never been sponsored by them, nor am I in this video, and if I'm fully honest, I have a confession actually. I've spent years not recommending that you buy this bike. For context, I've been doing indoor cycling for 8 years, and I've always felt that nothing replaces a good live class. And yes, I even had this odd stint as a cycling instructor, so I did get to the point of building my own routines, and at the time I also owned the spinner to do my workouts at home. I seriously felt no reason why anyone should spend so much money for a bike that's actually not even my favorite design, plus a service you could get at the gym or do on your own for a lot less money. The problem is that to a certain degree, I feel that was not the responsible thing to do. If you all know me and follow me for reviewing tech, you expect an educated opinion from me, and the only way for anyone to provide that is to actually test something out. So yes, I got this bike in late 2019, meaning I've been an active user for more than a year, and during that time, I didn't just learn that I was wrong about my unfounded impression, but I also realized that for a certain group of people, this hardware and this service actually makes a ton of sense, and that goes beyond the temporary need to work out at home because of this pandemic. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and I think we could call this my extended review of Peloton, sponsored by MediaTek. Stick around to learn how MediaTek enables home fitness solutions like this one. So let me give you a bit of a preamble. I do pay for a gym membership, and I also pay for Beachbody On Demand for their weight training programs and nutrition. Adding Peloton to the mix is already too expensive for the average consumer, I know. But I clarify this because it's not like if I'm dumb. There's a reason why the investment makes sense for me, and it actually starts with debunking a ton of misconceptions that I read. The first is that to call this a bike with a tablet is actually a huge oversimplification. Yes, you can actually pay a lot less money just for the classes on your tablet or TV while using a cheap spinner, or sure, you can probably find a couple of classes on YouTube. But let's be real, if any of those solutions were effective, most of you wouldn't have that bike or that elliptical as a clothing hanger. If you're laughing, it's because you know who you are, and guess what? That was me too from like 2008 to 2012. I spent a ton of money on gear that I never used because, like the average person, I had no time and was not self-motivated. The gear collected dust for years, and even when I was forced into fitness due to health conditions, I would grab them for like 10 minutes and quit because I did not have the proper guidance. It's the equivalent to all the people you see at the gym that spend an hour on their phones just to take a selfie and don't really work out. What changed things for me was finding my wolf pack. I finally found a good spinning class at the time with a fantastic instructor, and classes that were so good that I became addicted. I got in shape in months, and it even got me into running and weight training to be able to cross-train. It's crazy how the proper motivation makes a difference in anyone, and I just went off on a personal tangent to explain why Peloton is not just a bike with a tablet. There are a few reasons why this bike is special, and it starts with how it's able to sort of mesh some of the elements of a ride on the road with an indoor class and a sort of a personal trainer. See, on the road, you know how well you rank against your peers simply because you're either behind or in front of them. On an indoor class, it's not that simple. You can see everyone, but you mostly have no way to know if you're working as hard as they are or they're working as hard as you, so it's hard to make that truly competitive. On this Peloton, the brains of the bike are actually a collection of sensors below the screen that are connected to the resistance knob and the wheel. What this does is feed your statistics live to the service, so instead of you being a solitary rider, you can actually see how you rank on the leaderboard. The service will tell you if you're above or below RPMs and resistance, which determines the energy you produce, which then determines your place on that leaderboard in front of everybody else. Why should you care? Well, I think it gamifies the experience. I think the reason why closing circles on an Apple Watch is so revolutionary is mainly because committing to a long-term goal is hard. But if you make this a daily game where you achieve a smaller goal, it all adds up in the end, turning a class into pretty much your own genius private game. Better yet, for those that are worried about boredom, there are thousands of classes available, with new ones every day. You can schedule and join a live ride for real time where instructors can even call on your nickname if you're lucky, or you can pick any ride on demand and measure your place historically, or based on what people are on that same ride at the same time. Heck, you can even invite friends to join a ride and see each other as there's a built-in camera at the top, or you can even do sessions, which is like doing an on-demand ride in a live environment. And yes, you can see their stats in real time if you're competitive, or if you're like me, you'll compete against your own PR, which is permanently shown on that leaderboard, and it's constantly reminding me of how much I suck that day. I do actually debate kilojoules as a metric because the taller you are, the more torque you can produce on the pedals, but then again, calories is pretty much the same problem depending on your size. The second misconception is to think that any class at a gym is the same thing. When I moved from the city that I was living at, I pretty much lost my wolf pack. Trust me, I searched for a good instructor and a class in different gyms, and while some were okay, there was just no chemistry. I had already gained the self-motivation most of us need, but even doing my own classes proved to be monotonous, which can plateau anyone's results. Now, the biggest problem with most gyms that bundle a cycling class in your membership is that not all classes are what I'd call well-crafted. I've seen instructors kill their riders with unlimited climbing or sprints, leaving people dead on the bike or not choosing the right music for the cadence that they want, so the song becomes pretty much pointless. A great class should be more like a dance that leaves you pumped and ready to tackle your day, but there's a science to it, and I think that this is why more expensive services like SoulCycle or Peloton have become so popular. Here, every single class is designed with a purpose, and you get to pick your poison. If you're more motivated by music like I am, I usually pick themed classes, but you can also choose how hard you're willing to go, whether you're looking for low impact, endurance, or if you want to go hardcore with power zone classes. Best of all, you can decide how long you want to ride. I'm more of a 45 minutes kind of guy, but on busy days or when I'm cross-training with weights, I'll stick to 30-minute classes. But then the most important reason for me is honestly the instructor. Chemistry with your personal trainer is essential, and at this price, they should all be amazing. I've tried to ride with all of them, and honor where honor is due, they're all fantastic. Each have their own styles, but the essentials of a well-crafted class are guaranteed. You can easily tell by how each interval is pre-planned throughout the different parts of the class, ensuring you train hard and rest enough in between. It's a common thing for people to find more affiliation with one or two based on motivation styles, and I've got friends, for example, who are fans of Cody, and then my son loves Alex, and in my case, I'd ride with Alex, Tunde, Robin, or Dennis based on my mood. Heck, if you're like me, you'll even bookmark a few comfort rides you might want to repeat in the future, which I'll mostly do based on the playlist that was crafted for the class. Now, the third misconception is that Peloton is too expensive. In reality, yes, I think it is, but I feel that the price makes sense based on your needs. Let me ask you two questions. First, are you self-motivated? And second, do you know what you're doing? If the answer is yes to both, then you're fine. You do not need this. If the answer is no to the first, then do the math. How much does a world-class personal trainer that can motivate you cost? I know that alone is crazy expensive, and not including the bike and everything else. Now, the second question is more important though, as knowing what you're doing is essential. I know by experience that a badly crafted workout regimen can lead to fatigue, lost in consistency, poor results, and even injury. In my case, my time is limited, but I also believe that a good workout should be more effective than efficient, so it's why I invest so much in programs that work instead of wasting my time just blindly going to the gym. And here's the thing, for the same money, Peloton has weight training, running, yoga, boot camp, and other ways to help you maximize your investment. Best of all, if you own the bike, there's pretty much no limit that I know of in how many users you can add to it in your household, which means that they can all take advantage of the classes on their phones, tablets, TVs, or the bike, which means that, yeah, you can dilute the cost. Now, given the bike's design, I will admit that at first I was concerned about things like durability. I sweat like a machine, so I figured that I'd destroy this display after a couple of uses, but this tablet hasn't really given me any problems. It's actually powered by today's sponsor, MediaTek. Its MT8173 SoC provides enough power and graphics performance for you to not even notice that the Peloton user interface is actually built on top of Android. Whether it's the reliability demands of this bike or your typical Android tablet, there's a reason why brands like Peloton trust MediaTek. Follow the first link in the description to learn more about what makes this partnership so special. But alright, you know me. As much as I love this bike and this service, it's far from perfect. Let's discuss the reasons why I'm mixed. The first is that for this amount of money, Bike 1 would not be my first recommendation. Spinners that are a third of this price will let you adjust the handlebars horizontally in addition to just vertically, catering to those used to a smaller bike size. Here, yes, you do get something of an angle if you lift it vertically, but that will piss any speed rider off if you know what I'm talking about. Also, these speakers, they're terrible. Even if you can select to hear more of the music and less of the instructor or vice versa, I recommend using a pair of Bluetooth headphones to follow along. That actually leads me to the second reason, which is that some of the bundles don't really make sense for the money. Those Peloton headphones and that chest strap are terrible quality as well. Seriously, bring your own headphones and use whatever smartwatch you already have, even if, yes, those stats won't sync as well as an Apple Watch will with Bike Plus, or even an Apple Watch with the Peloton application on the iPhone. I know, that makes no sense. Also, the optional weights are just too small for my taste that max out at 3 pounds on each side, but that's actually a matter of taste. The only thing that I would buy are the shoes, as anyone who knows the price of speed cleats will agree that these are a bargain. If speed shoes aren't your jam or you find it too hard to unsnap them, the bike does include the tools for you to adapt to mountain bike pedals or harness options. Obviously, that's at your expense. Last but not least is that at this price, I do wish we had better services and everything else but the bike. I tried a guided run on the road and forget it. No way to choose music based on beats per minute, which means no pacing, no flexibility in the length of the class, so it's not really realistic for road running, and the Apple Watch application provides no stats other than your heart rate zone, which no runner cares about more than their mileage. Yes, I know that these are all on the phone as you run, but let's be real, you want them on the watch. I also wish that there was more of a structure on these workouts. The reason why I still use Beachbody On Demand is because the workouts are separated into programs that have a beginning and an end, which again is more effective than training just picking classes out of the blue, or expecting results just because you're blindly working out. Peloton did just announce something to match this sort of, but I'll report back later on how well it lives up to that. To conclude, I know, I got into a few tangents here and there, but they are all mainly to explain why you shouldn't oversimplify what the Peloton service is about. Yes, it is expensive, yes, you do not need it, and yes, there are a ton of alternatives, The reason why I recommend it is because I feel it gets the Apple paradigm so well, where the hardware and the software blend seamlessly to provide something that's quite unique and honestly better than most alternatives combined. I feel it strikes a good balance that serves any beginner that really wants to find the motivation to get into fitness seriously, or even guys like me who are pretty demanding in the kind of fitness that we want. I do even feel that the perks on Bike Plus are worth the price difference over this less expensive model, but that's a story for another video. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that we need to stay healthy while at home. But if history has proven anything else, it's that in fitness, the tools aren't everything. For you to be truly motivated, you need to find your wolf pack. So yes, as much as I did not recommend this service before, I do now. I feel that there is a lot more to this book than its cover, but you won't understand it until you give it a try for yourself, which I highly recommend you do. Let us know what you think about working out at home in this Peloton in the comments down below. Do you think I'm crazy for recommending it or not? I would love to read your comments, and while you're at it, follow us on social media, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. You can also follow me on my personal handles to see me do these workouts every single day. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.